It is a horrible idea that there is somebody who owns us, who makes us, who supervises us, waking and sleeping, who knows our thoughts, who can convict us of thought crime, who can do thought crime, just for what we think. Child made in the image of God. Oh no, you're not. You're a faggot. And you can't join your church and you can't go to heaven. This is disgraceful. It's inhuman.
Hello. I have a sort of kind of pseudo day off. I don't work today. I took the day off, and yet I still have to go to work today. I still have to go to the base and ride the bus that I'm going to be driving on Monday and learn the route that I'm going to be driving on Monday. So I am going to work today, but I'm not working today, if that makes any sense. But I had a thought today while I had to take my cat to the vet and I was driving home. I was thinking about God. And I thought, you know, I haven't done a video about God for a long time. I think I'm going to do one. I am an atheist, and I am an agnostic atheist, so that means I'm not so proud that I cannot admit I don't know. I seriously don't know. I believe that nobody knows that whether or not a God exists. Nobody honestly can say that they know for sure. And I feel it's dishonest to say, I know for sure there is no God, or I know for sure there is a God. You're dishonest if you say that. Nobody knows for sure, one way or the other. I'm an atheist. I don't believe in God or gods. Certainly don't believe if a God exists. I certainly don't believe it is the biblical God of, well, the Bible. I don't believe in Yahweh. I don't think a Yahweh exists because the God of the Bible is too puny. And I don't really feel that if a God exists, I was looking up at the sky while I was driving, but I was looking at the road, but I was also looking kind of up at the sky. Particularly gorgeous arrangement of clouds and light, and it was a particularly beautiful sky. And I was thinking of how big, if there was a God, and if a supreme being really did exist, what would he or she be like, or it be like? Because when you think about it, if a God has a gender, it's limited. It's been limited. It has a limitation. It's not everything if it has a gender. It's limited to that gender. So I don't think if a God really existed, it would have any gender at all. It would have no limitations. And so it would also have no personality either. Because to have a personality, you're limited by things. Oh, so-and-so, that's so unlike her. That's so unlike him. If you have a personality, if you have characteristics and qualities about you, then you're limited. That's so unlike him or her to do that. Well, that's a limitation, to be unable to do something because that doesn't fit into your character or your personality. You can't do something that's not like you. Well, then you have a limitation. I think a real God would not have any limitations. So he or she or it would not have characteristics or qualities unique to it or a personality. It would be limitless in its ability, in its likelihood to do something. It would be limitless. and it would be absolutely able to do anything. The God of the Bible is too puny to be a real God. It can't do anything. If your God can do anything, it should be able to appear and say, "Here I am, believe in me." If your God can do anything, rather than rely on an old, stupid book that's so badly been re-edited and whatever, it's filled with contradictions and errors and missing pieces and whatever. If a God was real, it wouldn't rely on something so primitive. It has the internet now. It has television. It has ways to communicate to humans. I was watching a show the other day where, I think it was actually Man of Steel, where the alien ship comes down and Zod starts to talk to the people of Earth, and all over the planet people are listening to Zod in their own language, because Zod is able to, whatever the technology is on his ship, he is able to communicate in all the Earth languages simultaneously. Well, a real God would be able to do that, because a real God can do it, can do anything. He could speak from the heavens down to the planet, and everybody who heard the sounds of his or her voice would be able to understand. A real God could do that. Wouldn't rely on a book. Whether it's speaking directly from the sky to the earth, or it's speaking through television or the computer or cell phones or whatever, a real God would be understood by all. A real God would be able to put down its words in such a way that it would not require wise men or apologists to interpret for it what its message is. It would know how to communicate clearly to every single mind on the planet. And it would be infinite. Its power would be infinite. The God of the Bible can't smite iron chariots. The God of the Bible can't forgive without blood sacrifice. You have to jump through these hoops before the God of the Bible can forgive you. The God of the Bible can't interfere with whatever Satan wants to do on the earth. No, can't do that. It's Satan's domain. I can't touch that. It seems to me the God of the Bible is pretty powerless, and even Christians know it, because how many Christians, oh, we're going to pray for Johnny. Unfortunately, not all of them, but a lot of them will say, oh, we're going to pray for Johnny, but let's take him to the doctor too. Let's get him on some antibiotics right away. But we'll still pray, but we need to get him on medication. We need to have the doctor see him. Oh, he needs surgery. We need to have him operated on right away. Most decent parents have a clue. Okay, well, we'll pray, but we're also going to do all this other stuff too, because deep down they know that this God is limited. Well, he might answer our prayer, maybe not. But if he does it, it's all according to his, whatever. Make excuses up for his inability to do anything. When has he done anything anyway? I haven't seen anything in my lifetime. I haven't seen one single thing that isn't explainable by medicine or skill, a physician's skill, or somebody who's just in the right place at the right time to stop something. There's always a natural explanation for every miracle. And if there isn't one, there is one. We just haven't discovered it yet. I have yet to see God catch somebody who's falling from a skyscraper or from a plane that's crashing. I have yet to see God hold back a tsunami to keep thousands of people from drowning, or stop bullets being fired at somebody's chest. What does this God do all day anyway that makes him so great? What exactly does he do? He doesn't control the weather. Nature does that. There's a natural explanation for what causes the weather. There's a natural explanation for what causes a shooting star, or causes planets to collide, or whatever. There's natural explanations behind everything, even the things we haven't figured out yet. So what exactly is the point of this God? I believe a real God would be so powerful that he would be above things like worship. He wouldn't need and he wouldn't care about how much people praise and worship him. It would be trivial to him and be beneath him to care about such little things. He wouldn't need constant ego stroking and constant affirmation about how wonderful he is. And he wouldn't play favorites. All of his creations would be prized and treasured. Life on other planets? There wouldn't be one being that he was made, that was made in his image. To say, well, man was made in God's image, you're putting a limitation on God. You're saying that God looks like we do. Well, if he looks like we do, then he can't look like a lion. If he looks like us, he can't look like Denarvarian, which are intelligent people on another planet called Denevar. I'm making this up, but the point is, if humans are made in his image, then he has an image, and then he can't look like anything. He can only look like us, which puts a limit on him again. And I think a real God would have no limits. I think his appearance would be constantly. I think he would look completely different to everything that looked upon him or her. I keep saying him because this is me, my habit as a longtime Christian. I think the appearance would constantly be changing. I think the language would constantly be changing. There would be no tendencies of this individual to do a certain thing rather than something else, because any kind of tendency or predictability would be to say he or she has limits, and this would be limitless, capable of anything. You can't say, well, my God is good, because you're putting limits on your God. If your God is good, it can't be bad. And if it can't be something, well, then it is limited, isn't it? I believe a real God would not have any limits at all, and it would be capable of good and evil, and everything in between as well. A God who's all-knowing, and this God would be all-knowing. Everything would, in fact, be part of the plan, everything. And there would be no such thing as bad and good, because even the bad things would be part of the good divine plan, which isn't really good, because if it's good, then you put a limitation on the God, don't you? By saying it's good. Good and evil, these are little boxes. If you put the God in either one of those little boxes, you're limiting him or her to what is in that little box. Anything with limitations can't possibly be a God. It's not capable of everything. And this God would be capable of everything. It would be limitless. It would know the future. It would be all-knowing. But I think most of all, it would absolutely not care. If nobody believed in it, it wouldn't matter to it. Even when I was a Christian, my idea of what God was contradicted what was in the Bible. I just didn't know it. I walked around imagining that the God that I believed in cared and loved me and accepted me for who I was exactly. And I believe that if such a thing like a God existed, that's the God it would be. It would care for all its creations, and it would love them enough to let them roam free and be what they were made to be. Natural creatures put on their individual planets to serve whatever natural reasons. And the God would put all this in place and step back and let it roam free and go on with its business of being all powerful and wonderful and magnificent. And it would know this, and it wouldn't need constant affirmation from its creations. It wouldn't need anything from its creations, because to need something would imply that it's weak and it hungers and it requires sustenance or some kind of fuel to power it. So this God would not need anything from its creations. It would create simply for the pure joy of creating, and then it would step back and live and let live, and go on with whatever it does as an all-powerful being, and not care if any of its creations even know it exists at all. This is what I think a real God would be like. I honestly don't think that it would feel the need to, again, there's that word need, to interact with any of its creations. I don't think that such a being would want to interfere with its creation. It's because then it wouldn't be letting its creation roam free. Anyway, I don't know if this video is making sense, but for all these reasons, I feel like the gods that humans make up are just so limited. They have genders, they have personalities and characteristics, and they're either good or evil, which makes them limited. They're likely to do this but not do that. They can't do this, they can't do that, but they can do this, but you have to pray, and then maybe it'll be a 50-50 shot. I mean, there's all these rules and whatever, and I'm sorry, rules and whatever imply that God is limited and very human. When you think about the gods that humans have created, they're mirrors of human beings. They have all the same vices and flaws. Oh, God, Yahweh is a very jealous God. Really? Isn't it funny how Yahweh is so much like a human male? Is that a coincidence, or is it maybe because he was made by human males? Yeah, I just felt like talking about God. I just feel, you know, as an atheist who's agnostic, I don't deny the fact that there could be something up there. And if there is such a thing as a God, it would be as I described. It would be completely limitless. And it would be so great that it would not require or hunger or crave all the things these little gods hunger for and crave. It would not need worship. It would not need people singing praises. It would not need recognition. It would not need a blood sacrifice. It would not need thank you. It would be above these things. You know what really needs these things are people. People need affirmation. They need recognition when they do good. You say thank you when a person gives you something. The person hopes to hear a thank you. These are things people need. A God would be above these things. It wouldn't need them. It wouldn't even care. It would be so small and so, you know, do I need to know if ants notice me and look up to me and are in awe of me? Do I need to know that the ants that I'm walking by acknowledge me in some way? Is that something that I need to get through my day? A real God would be the same way toward its creations. It wouldn't care. It would create for the sheer joy of it and not any other reason. So that's all. I just wanted to just kind of felt philosophical and wanted to think about things and put some thoughts out there. So now I have got to get to work on my day off now. So if you've been watching, thanks. Bye.
I am absolutely convinced that the main source of hatred in the world is religion. And I think it should be religion treated with ridicule and hatred and contempt.
Share the same way.